stays with Carolee always, and how something like also the warm-up relates to the work in the back left corner, which is dated for Wheel, which is dated 1962, which is also related to Carolee's interest in painting. So what I hope we can talk about tonight is Carolee as a painter, and her early sort of foundations and beginnings in painting, and I'm hoping that I can have her begin talking about her early experience in landscape painting, which is where it all began, and her early training.
Well, yes, I'll talk about it, and you'll have to try to shut me up at some point. Growing up in rural Pennsylvania, landscape painting was the first thing I ever tried, with oil paints that I found in a little box. I didn't know that you needed thinner. So my first paintings of snow on pine trees were really this disgusting agglomeration of lumps of oil paint without any turpentine, but it was a start. The other part of the work is that there was always motion from the earliest drawings from when I was 4 years old, which I'm working with right now in a lecture called Mysteries of the Iconographies. There's an obsession with motion and sequential motion. It's quite curious. So there's motion, and then as a landscape painter, the inevitable defeat that I felt sitting in this intense sensory surround where everything is changing. I can't grasp the clouds or the mist or the movement of the winds, the aromas. Everything eludes me. But at the same time, it's giving me a sense of rigorous pursuit. And that pursuit has a grounding in Cézanne. Those landscapes with their intensely optical structures in which I begin to see a physicality. But, you know, I'm 18 or 19, so I don't know where this is going to go. The potentiality is intensified by the work of de Kooning, those fractured planes, and certainly by Pollock, where there's the demand that you have to have a muscular response, or, as my father would say, it looks like someone spilled spaghetti. So these are the kinds of perceptual energies that are going to take me into what is called performance, and my objection to that is very intense and peculiar. Should I say anything about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that is so interesting about the transition that you made from painting to performance, and I would love for you to explain, and what was interesting for me to realize as a curator, and honestly, and almost discovering your painting, is what it was for me as a curator, was discovering these early paintings, and then realizing retrospectively how much the paintings related to your performance, was that your performances were and should be understood as exploded canvases. So that when you look at something like Meet Joy, or you look at Body Collage, which are in the other room, that you were, and don't let me put words in your mouth, but I think that you were really thinking of those as extensions of your painting, so that Meet Joy really was an exploded painting. In so many words, right?
Yeah, it's about an increased viscerality and an implicit physicality that I needed to take with great despair off the canvas. So there's a crisis point when I'm in university where I realize the first activation in space is when a tree, as some of you know, crashes through this little shack that Jim Tenney and I live in while we go to the University of Illinois. And a tornado crashes the tree down, it breaks the roof and the window. The landlord is 80 years old, so I know we're kind of doomed to this fractured space. But the kid immediately sees that there's this entrance and exit, that there's this graceful movement along a tree limb from the kitchen sink out into the landscape. And I watch her and I think that's what I really want to do. I want that entrance and exit and to have it be beyond architectural specification. So I did my first landscape event, but at the same time feeling absolute anguish that I might not just be able to stay painting on the canvas.
So that allowed you to think about moving off the frame. That first action.
Well, I'm moving off the frame. I've already been chopping into it and putting them on wheels, but this means that there's a personification that is going to ask for the physical body to enter the space and vitalize it, and then that will develop into fuses, and of course meat joy, which they all start from dreams and drawings. So there's kind of a compelling intercession with space that's coming from the unconscious.